Oh, no.
Two dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the two dudes and the attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E. The two dudes with the attitudes to bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.
Welcome to another episode of Two Dudes with Attitudes, a wrestling podcast with the Heartbreak Dude Denton and Ryan enjoys wrestling. I feel like I haven't seen you in a decade, huh?
Yeah, it's been a long time, man. I've been celebrating my men's and women's NC State Wolfpack making the Final Four. So I've been a little busy over the last couple weeks.
Congratulations. And we have a celebration, right? Oh, go ahead.
Of course, the Final Four is the games are the same night as WrestleMania Night 1.
Well,
so
why not?
I got a decision to make. So what am I going to watch?
Well, let's make that announcement now because we've already made up your decision.
Yeah.
I apologize, but we will be doing live watch-alongs on YouTube. Are we going to do it on Twitch as well?
We'll be on YouTube and Twitch. Yeah, we'll be on Twitch and YouTube, maybe TikTok. And we're going to be doing WrestleMania Night 1 watch along, WrestleMania Night 2 watch along, and of course NXT Stand and Deliver watch along. So it's going to be a busy Saturday and Sunday for the two dudes with attitudes.
It's crazy because a year ago we were hanging out with each other in this moment. So crazy how fast time flies. Now
it really has flown by. It really has flown by. Like I can't believe it's already a year ago.
A quick year. And let's hit them with the other news. You have talked it into the world, and holy cow, did we get there?
Yeah, so I've been saying this whole time, I want to get to 1,000 subscribers by WrestleMania 40. And for whatever reason, the algorithm gods, the TikTok, sorry, now I'm going to get my subs taken away. But the YouTube gods and the algorithm gods, they must have been watching our videos because over the last week, we went from 725 subscribers to now we're well over 1,000. So we're getting there, man. We're doing things. We're doing big things. So
we are. Yeah.
I feel like we need to do like a celebration. Yeah.
We should. I thought we'd do it for WrestleMania. The watch alongs. We'll do something fun. Yeah. We'll do something. Maybe we'll give away something at the watch alongs. Tune in. Maybe we should. We'll get together and think about that. Let's do that. Yeah, I'll sign something. I'll sign one of my Funko Pops.
I got one that used to fall off my wall while we were recording.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a Brock Lesnar
one too. You can sign. Yeah, you want to sign Ryan Enjoys Wrestling and sign Heartbreak Dude Denton Funko Pop?
On a Brock Lesnar Funko. Yeah, not even our Funkos.
I have a me Funko Pop. That's
I know. I need to get one for me.
Yeah, good stuff. But yes, so we're doing a special edition today in honor of our thousands, in honor of everything, in honor of one CM Punk. We are going to break down the CM Punk MMA Hour Ariel Helwani interview. It had a lot of information. He talked a lot about WWE, talked a lot about AEW, talked about NDAs, talked about no, contact and this and that and blah, 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 and everything else. In the world. He just talked about a whole bunch of stuff. I thought it was a great interview. One of my favorite parts. It's all good. One of my favorite parts about the interview too were the comments because it's MMA Hour, right? And so whenever he has wrestling people on, MMA fans get so angry and just on it the whole time. It's like, why are we listening to this idiot? There's 25,000 people watching this garbage, blah, blah, blah. And then later on, Rhea Ripley comes on and Becky and them do like a fake scuffle. And I'm sure the MMA people were all butthurt about that.
I had a little I was a little butthurt about that. I'm not going to lie. Because
let's hear.
I enjoyed it. And I like Ariel Helwani. I think he is probably one of the most credible wrestling journalists out there. More credible than Meltzer, more credible than Sean Ross Sapp. I love the way he interviews people. But I didn't like that. I don't know. It just came across like he just did this hard-hitting interview with CM Punk. And that's going to be the talk of the town. And it was a great interview. He left no stone unturned and covered everything that's happened over the last couple of years with CM Punk. And then they go and do a WWE angle on the MMA Hour. And I'm just like, I don't know. To me, that kind of ruined his credibility a little bit. It kind of took his credibility down a notch just because it was like, okay, how much of this was permitted by the WWE, how much of this was like, I don't know. I had a little bit of a problem with it. You say you're a credible journalist, and then you go and you have that hard hitting interview, and then the very next segment you do an angle for WWE. Just
like a scripted angle. Yeah.
Minor gripe, but a gripe nonetheless.
I get what you're saying. And I don't think Ariel's a wrestling media, though. I think he's all MMA. I think he only does wrestling everywhere. I wouldn't consider him.
No,
That's I've always said. I've always said wrestling has no credible people. Sean Ross Sapp is a freaking joke, and Dave Meltzer's. I don't even know why he's even still around. So both of them suck. Ariel Helwani is good. For one, he knows how to speak. He knows how to ask questions. He does his damn research, and he's not afraid to ask. He'll ask anybody anything. He pissed off Tony Khan once on his MMA show when he asked about freaking.
He asked everything. He asked CM Punk what happened at Brawl Out, and Tony Khan wouldn't answer his questions. He kept saying, "Thanks for asking, Ariel, but I really want to talk about All In at Wembley Stadium this month and what we're doing here." Yeah,
weird why he wouldn't answer. Right? Weird.
Yeah.
Weird why, but Punk answered and gave his side, and we'll get into that because all you hardcore fans out there are all up in arms about blah 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 and this and that, and it's all fake and blah. But someone gave their input and somebody else didn't. I also instantly afterwards, you want to talk about. I'm not dogging them for doing it in a sense, but I am all these people in AEW who came out afterwards with tweets of hashtag thank you AEW, like Sammy Guevara and FTR and Daddy Magic and all these. What the fuck? You act like that you're in a bad place. But I always say this: if you were going to post about it, then it's not true. Because if you have to say it, what you think CM Punk ruined you guys from this interview? For you to do that, you got to be in your feelings, correct? How stupid was that? I laughed reading them.
Yeah. I understand standing up for your company. I get it. But at the same time, Sammy Guevara has been suspended how many times? And he's currently suspended. And
isn't he suspended right now?
He's suspended right now, and he's over here thank you, AEW. For what? You're just as big of a problem as CM Punk was.
100%.
You're backstage beating up people and fighting people. And you've made questionable comments in the past about a recent signee of Mercedes Moné before you were in AEW, and but you're over here. Thank you, AEW. I don't know. It just came across a little. You talk about disingenuous. This was that was all disingenuous.
How many WWE people wrote "Thank you WWE" when Vince McMahon was accused of all these things, or whenever they've had bad press? No, they just you move on. You keep doing your. It just shows how Bush League AEW is, and this is what drives me crazy about it. Is that it's what are just shut? What are? Okay, here's the thing. Before we get into it, one, AEW hardcore fans, grow the F up. Your company is your company. Tony Khan is not a real boss, so we all know this. Everybody knows this, and we'll get more into it. WWE hardcore fans. No, CM Punk didn't cook AEW. So stop with that shit too. Hardcore fans need to just stop talking because you guys are all freaking idiots because you don't have any sense of credibility when you talk because you're talking in a biased form. You're just thinking one-minded. So your opinion means nothing. I've stated this numerous times. If you're going to be unbiased, then state an opinion because you're seeing both ways. But nobody was cooked, and he did not even say anything bad, which we'll get into. There was nothing on here that I was like, oh, snap. No, he didn't. There might have been things where I was like, oh, wow, he was really honest about what happened. But he didn't really say bad things about anybody. And he actually kept stating about how many friends he has in the business that he doesn't want to mention just in case they get affected by that. So,
and he also reiterated several times that, like you said, he has a lot of friends there. He doesn't regret his time there. And he does sincerely wish them well. And he just wants to be left alone and is moving on. But he said it several times. And I think the old CM Punk, the one that did the interview with Colt Cabana now that we've all know and love from 2014, he would have never said this. So I feel like it was a sign of maturity on his part, but also, he's going to talk about it and then he's going to move on. And I respect that.
I agree. So what do you want to do? Do you want to start breaking down things you liked and then we'll show clips? Or you want to show clips that you just want to pick some clips right now and then we'll break it down? What do you want to do?
Let's let's just get into the interview itself and just talk about things that we liked, what we found surprising, what we found fascinating, and I'll see if I can find some clips of some things from this interview because I highly recommend everybody go check out the whole thing because it's about an hour and 50 minutes long, but it doesn't feel like it. It flies by and it's really, really well done and hard hitting for sure.
I agree.
There is so much to talk to this man about, and what a time
That's
to
the
do it.
beginning of the. Here we go. Let me get to the good part.
Better than I think I should.
Okay.
It's giving me kind of sort of a false sense of security. Show your handsome face.
Yes.
So I always listen to the boss.
You always change the hair, by the way, because like when you came back in November, you had like a bit of a fade.
Yeah.
He
and
does
then it
always
grew
change
back
his
into
hair.
this.
Very important to always change the look. Different stages of your career.
This is kind of a throwback.
Yeah, 100%. Of course. Yeah, because I'm back to I'm back home. I'm back where I belong.
Right.
Yeah.
He
Before
said
we
that
get
a lot
into
during
everything,
the interview too. That he's
and I
back
can't
home.
wait
Yeah.
to talk to you about all of this.
Weird
Most
choice of
importantly, how are
sweatshirt,
you
by the way.
feeling? How is the
I
dress?
feel-
Ramon's
I feel
cool,
really, really
but that's
good.
what you're wearing
You know,
on this?
I think there's part of me that doesn't want everybody to know. I want to
Yeah,
keep
let me
it
see if I
keep it
can
a bit of a secret.
skip
but,
to some of the good
I
stuff.
feel
While you're doing that, I also
and I
liked a
had
lot
a
that he
C-
said he doesn't like to defend himself a lot because by being a villain and these people having a fake perception of him leads to him making more money. And I did truly like that he said that because that's kind of how I'm living my life right now with things being said about me. Just might as well. You want to be
Yeah.
the villain, let them be the villain, right? That's your perception. It's not real life.
Yeah. So some of the things that he talked about were he talked about everything that happened in AEW and his last few months there, what happened with Jack Perry. I'm gonna see if I've got this clip. Hang on.
The one thing I hated was Ariel Helwani's wrestling buddy in the background. Gross.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Get off my screen.
CM Punk is a big Bret Hart fan.
I know he is, and so is Ariel because he's Canadian, eh? But yeah, I was tired of seeing it. He did have a George St. Pierre and Conor McGregor wrestling buddy, which I didn't know they had UFC wrestling buddies. But
Yeah, I didn't know
I need
that
a
either.
wrestling buddy. I used to have a Hulk Hogan one, the real one, when I was a little kid. I loved it.
Was you show up, and I think the show has already begun. You only signed your contract after you appeared on
Oh,
TV.
so this
that
is him.
accurate?
Okay, this is good.
No, they would never. I don't think they would ever allowed me to even be on television without signing something.
Okay.
So this is the start of
literally like on the
when
phone
he
with
re-signed with the
okay,
WWE,
all right,
how it all transpired.
sign, go.
Okay, so maybe I got the timeline.
I signed and then walked
Jeez
into Gorilla, and it was like the most crowded elevator. Like there was just everyone just turns and looks, and jaws drop on the floor, and people are like, "What?" And then the world saw what came next.
How many people do you think knew that you were gonna appear that night?
I'd be surprised if you needed more than two hands to count.
So we had Becky on the show last week. I don't know if
Yeah.
you saw her comment. She said that her husband Seth didn't know, Colby didn't know,
So that was a real reaction.
and that he was not happy
Colby?
about that. And other people have said this.
That's his real name,
And-
Colby
and
Lopez.
I know.
I don't
Get
know,
out of here
right?
with
Like,
that.
I know.
I'm just
I know.
taking their words at face value. Is that accurate? Did all these guys not know?
I don't know.
You certainly didn't tip them off.
No.
I still think he knew.
I was in the same boat as everybody else, where like the weeks leading up to it, they were doing all these weird little things that happen too often to seem to be coincidences. Oh, somebody uses the GTS. Somebody says best in the world, and on their face you go, that doesn't matter. But I'm sitting at home going, should I be tanning? What I
Great
haven't
line.
spoke to anybody. I don't know what's going on. People are messaging me. They're like, "Oh, you're coming back. We're so excited." And I'm just like, it's just.
I
another
like
day
that
in
he didn't even
professional
know.
wrestling where
Yeah.
for
Like
some reason,
WWE
I'm like a
assumed they
magnet
were
for
going to
that
sign
stuff.
him. Like, let's just
But
start.
I didn't tell
hinting.
anybody, and I think that's why it was a secret, and it was such a shock. My wife knew. Nick, Triple H, lawyers. That's who knew on my side. I text my family, like my sisters and stuff, while I was. Don't text and drive, ladies
Yes,
and gentlemen.
please.
Don't do
Yeah,
it. This is voice text, voice, whatever, voice to text. I was in my car driving to the Allstate, which is the Rosemont. It's always going to be the Rosemont Horizon to me. Yeah.
That's when you told your family.
That's when I said, "Hey guys, just heads up. I'll talk to you all about it in depth tomorrow. This came together really, really fast. I'm on my way to the building right now."
Were you holding out hope with all those clues being dropped back in Chicago? You're a free man. Were you hoping to get that call? Were you not sitting around and being like, "Oh gosh, I hope they call me," but like, was there someone in the back of your mind saying like, "This would be nice"? I'm ready for this.
Yeah, the wrestling booker in my head was like, oh, this is the sweet spot. This is the business. This is what you do, but I wasn't desperate for, like a job or anything like that. Which makes it sound like I'm not grateful for where I'm at right now, which is the exact opposite. Like it's been an absolute dream thus far. So yeah, like I can't turn that part of my head off. The wrestling booker, I'm always doing, oh, this is, so that part's always going to be in motion.
What is that feeling like when you walk out? Even like those seconds before the music is going to hit, and then you walk out to that reception back on WWE television for the first time in almost 10 years. Like, can you even put that into words? What is that like?
No, I can't put it into words. I can almost tell you just how, like what we do is like ephemeral, right? It's gone. It happens and it's gone. What we leave people with are like lasting memories and moments. And I have been fortunate enough, no matter what anybody says, like how overrated I am, how shitty I am, how I don't deserve whatever.
Yeah.
Man, I've made some great moments,
It's
and
true,
just
yeah.
when I think, okay, that's the top, it can't get any better than that, I have another one. And then when I think, wow, that's cool, I squeaked out another one. How lucky am I? It happens again. And that was one of them, like when it's so loud in the building and it's your favorite building in the world to perform in, you can't hear your entrance music. And we're all performers. We all have cues based on our music. You know how long the song is, what you can do. And I didn't have any parameters of, okay, we're crashing to break. So I'm like, I'm milking the whole song. And then I went out there and I went, I can't hear the song because people were so loud. It was like
It was probably
watching
the
a
loudest
Blackhawks
pop I'd
game
ever
in
heard.
Chicago
Yeah,
Stadium.
it
in,
was.
like,
One of.
1989 or something like that. It was pure magic.
And then when you
So yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing I took away from that was, and I didn't play it the right way, but he didn't have a non-compete in his contract with AEW.
Mhm.
So he was able, originally Nick Khan approached CM Punk and said that he wanted him to return for the Rumble. And they were like, well, we want to get you signed. We're ready to, you should be all free and clear by the Royal Rumble. And Punk was like,
Mhm.
no, it's got to happen in Chicago. And Nick Khan was like, well, we're not going to be in Chicago anytime other than Survivor Series. And Punk was like, yeah, I can be there for Survivor Series. And he was like, wait, what? Nick Khan didn't even, like, everybody in the WWE assumed that he had a
Mhm.
non-compete with AEW, and he didn't. And he was
Usually at
free
least
to,
90 days. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
but he was free to go. He just took some time away, cleared his head, and then made it happen at Survivor Series. He could have signed the next day if he wanted to.
Yeah, which is crazy. And I don't know if we're going to go more into this part of it, but he also talks about, I don't know if it's right after this, about Seth, what his main goals were for WrestleMania, what they were going to book for him originally
Yeah.
before he got injured, which is interesting. And that the fact that he also said he could wrestle at WrestleMania. So
Yeah, he's saying that his rehab is going really well with his tricep, and
Mhm.
then he talks about how AEW on his other tricep that he tore didn't cover him at all, didn't cover his surgery.
Weird, right? Hmm.
Very weird. But let's see what we have a little bit more of.
Yeah, no, it's sad. And again, like I said, it's evil.
He ruined his life.
This is
Life.
And he ruined his life.
Mhm.
Let's see if I can play this from the beginning.
I don't even know if you can make reparations or amends, but there's victims here.
Yeah, I like what
Oh,
he
this
said.
is a good part. Yeah, this is him talking about Vince.
Relationships with them, like they're the reason I'm here. So there's a lot of that, and it's
Skip to the good part.
I saw him at the Towers.
Vince.
Because again, everything happened so fast. So Monday before Thanksgiving, get a phone call. Oh, we realize we can do this, and I was just and again, Nick Khan. Hey man, if it doesn't happen by Saturday, Royal Rumble, and I was like, Nick,
Oh, this is.
I don't want to give
yeah.
away any leverage in negotiation, but Saturday's the business. Like that, it has to happen. So hammering out a deal, Saturday debut, Sunday I'm at home and I'm like, man, this is strange. I don't know what we're doing, where this is going, but it feels right. And then I get a call, oh, hey, we should probably get you travel to TV. We're in Nashville. So I fly to Nashville. I think I went home, and I can't remember where I flew from there, but it was a SmackDown. And that night they were just like, do you want to come on the jet? You do NXT? And I just went, yeah, sounds great. So we're flying by the seat of our pants. We're doing all this stuff real last minute. And I had a carry-on, so I didn't have any clothes. So, as long as you guys find me a place to do my laundry, I need a gym, I got to work out. We'll give you a tour of the new towers. You come to the gym. Oh, great. It's always a badass gym. Everything was state of the art, and I was in there, and I was on the phone on a treadmill warming up, and Vince's trainer's like, hey, he's like, you got to get off the phone. Vince doesn't like it when people are on the phone in the gym.
He's still doing that
I was
stuff?
on the phone there.
That's hilarious.
It's just kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, And then I saw him walking down into the
I wonder
gym.
why.
He came in for his daily workout. Yeah.
And what was that like?
He gave me a big hug. He said, welcome home. Good to see you. Let's connect after I work out. And I was like, all right.
Funny
Haven't
line
seen him
coming up.
since.
You didn't connect?
No.
No.
I think some stuff came up, Ariel.
Oh, I mean, literally like an hour later.
And he
I didn't know if
laughed.
He was like, come up to the office and let's have a tete-a-tete.
No, I had to go.
Okay.
I had to work out and go.
Is that
do
the only
NXT
conversation that you've had with him since returning? Wow.
Yeah.
How do you feel about what's transpired since?
I mean, how do you feel? There's no positivity there. There's very much a. I didn't read all the allegations. I read text messages, and I went, "Oh, fuck this! Like, what?"
Yeah,
it's
what we all said.
indefensible, And I think, doing this, I'd imagined I was going to be asked about it, and I think the easiest thing for people to do is to kind of ignore it or avoid it. But man, it's there, and my initial first thing out of my mouth was, I'm kind of shocked at how dumb he was, writing stuff down and leaving that paper trail, and it's horrific. And I'm not I think at this point all the energy should be used to somehow, I don't even know if you can make reparations or amends, but there's victims here, So what CM Punk thinks about Vince and the CM Punk Vince relationship doesn't fucking mean anything. All that stuff takes a back seat. I'm more concerned about,
well said.
Going forward, how do those people survive after suffering all that trauma? My biggest concern.
Do you think that the business is better off if he's not in it?
At this point, how do you say anything but no? But
Right.
Have a field day with that one. How do you say anything
Have
but
a field
to
day with
businesses?
that one.
He messed up a little bit of
Obviously
some other
been
stuff
around for
too.
the last 10 years.
But-
But
Yeah,
did
I mean,
you-
it's a live.
Did
Yeah.
you know, let's be honest. Vince McMahon wasn't an angel. Everyone knew that he wasn't an angel. But this is like next level. This is evil, right? Like this is next level stuff. If what is being alleged is true, right? Did you have any idea that this type of behavior was going on behind the scenes?
No.
I like this reference that he makes.
And again,
Yeah.
the biggest thing I can draw a comparison to is when Chris Benoit did a murder-suicide, right?
I like that he talks about his reaction
I was
because he
friends
got a
with
lot of
Chris
flack
Benoit.
for that. A few guys did.
And I don't know if it's just how I process things, but I'm famously on camera weeping, saying goodbye to Chris, because at the time we didn't know, right? We didn't know he had, murdered his wife and his son. And the week prior, we're in Dothan, Alabama, and I'm traveling with him, and we're on the road, and he grabs me and runs me into the trainer's room, and he points, and his little son is in the corner, and he's taped up his hands, and he's drawn X's on his hands,
Wow.
So coming to terms with, that's my friend, he did this horrible thing. Obviously, fuck him, fuck that. but then, you know, like I don't have memories of Chris Benoit traveling with me and you know, murdering people at the gym.
Right.
So there was never any instances where I'd, you know, be in a room with Vince and he's shitting on somebody or sexually assaulting somebody. You know, it wasn't like Caligula in Rome. We just didn't see it, you know.
I love that.
But there's that part of me that goes, just like Benoit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. And that's the thing. It's like, I'm sure Jeffrey Dahmer's mother wasn't like, oh, I can see my boy doing that. No, like people are shocked that their friend or mentor or whatever is responsible for doing these horrible things. But I'm just more of I guess I'm pragmatic, where I just kind of looked and I went, yeah, okay, all right, okay, I can see that. Kind of nutty, you know. Chris is kind of intense, he's quiet, and then you just, you know, you build that in your head, you know. But I mean, it's very, very hard to reconcile. I heard what Becky said, where she, you know, like, because Vince is a father figure to a lot of people. Vince, I think, liked to develop the father relationship, and I think that's why he was always fascinated with me, because I was just like, fuck you, I got a dad. I don't, you know, you're my boss. Like, let's just keep it that way.
I got it, Dad.
But it's been a while. Like, it's just been wild, all that shit. It's sad.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked what he said about Vince and comparing it. I like that he wasn't afraid to bring up Benoit. And I thought it was a fair comparison. At first I was like, "Ooh, where's he going with this?" And then, you know, it's a fair comparison that he's on TV weeping for the loss of Benoit, because at the time they didn't have all the facts about everything that happened. They just knew that their friend was no longer with them. And then the more evidence comes out and you're like, okay, well, I can kind of see it. So yeah, I respect, and I like that he kind of put the question back on Ariel and was like, look, my relationship with Vince doesn't freaking matter at the end of the day, because there's victims here. And, you know, I think sometimes we get lost in that. We're too busy, you know, trying to figure out WrestleMania, and we're trying to predict what's like, you know, everyone was giving Triple H flack after the Royal Rumble because he wanted to focus on the Rumble and didn't want to focus on the quote unquote negativity. And you got a lot of flack from everybody in the internet about that. And I think CM Punk handled this well. He was like, look, there's victims here. You know, we want to think about the victims and, you know, let everything else play out as it should. So
yeah, and I like the comparisons, because that's what people are still with Triple H. I don't think anybody, do you think when husbands and wives divorce and one of them was cheating that the other person knew the whole time? No, people are shocked by things and surprised by things. And you don't, like, there's been shooters. We had a shooter out where I live in Saugus, at the Saugus High, which was one of the bigger shootings. And the mom, people were blaming the mom, and like, she had to know, like, why did she have to, like, you don't know everybody. You're not with somebody 24/7. So the fact that Vince was doing these type of things doesn't mean that everybody in the back knew. Triple H knew, Stephanie knew. Like, you think Vince is doing these things and just like telling his family about it? Like, hey, yesterday I shit on a girl, and hey, yesterday I did this. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not admitting to these things. So no, they don't know about it, and they weren't a part of it. And I like that he said that. I liked all of those lines, because it's real life, to where these AEW hardcore fans and these other people who are crapping on Vince, who want to see the WWE fail, are just wanting the downfall of everybody else. And that's not how life works. Am I saying 100% they didn't know? No, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, but I'm saying, just because you're related to someone, best friends with someone, this and that, you don't know everything I do and you do.
right,
You know what I mean? We're pretty damn close. We talk on a daily. It doesn't, you don't know what I do outside of our conversations.
You don't know
like,
me.
You don't know me, boo. Like, just but you know what I mean? So I just hate that that's always a comparison, is that, oh, they're family, they're best friends, so they knew. Like, no, they didn't. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You don't know anybody truly.
You really don't.
You don't.
Yeah,
ever.
You might think you do, but you really don't. But I did like how CM Punk handled that question, and I respect him for it. So now I'm gonna get into some
Let's
of
the good stuff.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I found a clip about CM Punk, and he's talking about All In and the All In incident with Jack Perry, the fight, what happened with Real Glass, and then he talks about a little bit about Tony Khan and what led to his impending exit from AEW. This is a little bit of a long one, but it's well worth it. So here we go.
of 2023, London. You arrive in London.
Yeah.
Ariel laughing.
Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, go ahead.
How does that go? What happened?
See, people crapped on him
There's
for this.
nobody
I
there
saw
to pick
people
me
being
up,
negative on
and
this.
it's not a big deal. I just got on the tube.
What did he say?
And I was like, adventure,
Not a big deal.
you know.
Weird.
You have to
But
figure it
all
out for
these
yourself.
people on Twitter have been saying
but
like,
that
"Oh,
part
get
was fun.
over it.
But
Like
it's
I have to
completely
find a ride
irresponsible
everywhere
as a
I
company
go."
To, you know,
Not a
leave
big
somebody
deal.
stranded at the airport, but you know, I understand the sentiments. You know, people, you know, all the smarties on Twitter, like, oh, can't you just take
Thank
an
you.
Uber? Will you, big crybaby? I never cried about it once, not once.
How do people find out about these things?
Well, there were fans on the
Oh,
yeah,
tube.
okay.
obviously.
They're taking
Yes,
pictures.
okay.
You know, like I'm sitting there, I'm just sitting on the tube, and I'm like, this is neat.
You
know,
feel like adult?
I'm still the guy. I when I fly in.
I don't know
out
what
of
the tube is,
Chicago,
by the
I
way,
take
but-
the
It's
blue
like
line
their
home.
subway
right.
system.
I'm not
Oh.
trying to, you know, be super fancy and shit like that.
I pictured it being a futuristic tube. Just so you
where
know.
are you backstage?
Like the
Jack
Jetsons.
Perry
Yeah.
is on
Yeah.
on screen and he says, "Real glass. Why don't you cry about it?" Where
Yeah,
are you when this is said?
I was in my locker room.
Did you feel like that was directed at you?
Yes.
Why?
Okay, it obviously was directed at me.
Well, because okay, so for those that may not know, apparently he had a trip planned. He wanted to use glass. You were consulted.
I love
You
all
said,
this
Why
if
would
it's
you
true.
use glass? Correct me. You lived it, so I'm trying to bring people up to speed.
This is one of those things where it's just like there's all these rumors about NDAs.
Yes.
There's a big difference between not being allowed to talk about some shit or just not wanting to talk about some shit. I don't necessarily want to litigate this again.
You say again, you never talked about it publicly, but
No,
you mean like just like
I guess I
drumming it
haven't,
up.
but that's the thing. So Tony's big idea was separate show. We're going to separate everybody. And I said, that'll never work. Just let me go. Get me out of here.
So he wanted to quit
Pay me
then
my
before
money.
Collision.
Before
I've already
Collision,
been
yeah.
off TV.
After All
I
In,
hurt this
All
arm.
Out.
Just get me out of here. You know, no, I can't let you go. Why? Just let me go. Who cares? I'm
Because of money?
it's best. I mean, these guys don't want me here. This isn't a real business. This isn't a business predicated on making money, drawing money, selling tickets, you know, doing business. It's not what it was sold to me as. So let me go. No, I can't let you go.
Sold to
I'm
him
gonna do
as.
this new show. You're gonna have blah blah blah. And then the second day we have this show.
Really quick,
I'm
pause it.
sitting in
Pause it. Pause it.
catering,
Pause it.
minding
Sorry,
my own
pause it. Pause it.
business,
Pause it.
and
Because
Tony
this is a
Khan
long
comes and
thing. We'll
gets me,
forget
and
this.
he's like, hey,
So I saw people crapping on him, and I know you have too, about him saying this line, and that people are saying that because he said that, it means he's all about money and all about business. And we'll get into another line that he talks about wrestling with Dave Meltzer's dumbass. But I just have to say, when he signed with AEW and made his premiere, everybody, you can go back and look it up, find all these AEW hardcore people, all these other fans, they were all about this was the moment that they were going to start doing $1 million a week, becoming a competitor with WWE. That was said and stated. So he was told, right, that we're going to do this. We're going to make huge money, sell out arenas, compete with WWE. Remember when they were beating NXT and everybody was into ratings back then, but now they're not anymore. And then all of a sudden,
that happens.
And all of a sudden, Tony Khan decided that he wants to be an Americanized New Japan Pro Wrestling. He just wants to have matches and so on. So be it. But the fact that people are crapping on him for that is when you have a job, anybody in the world, do you want to make money or no?
Of
Do
course.
you always want to make more money? When you get offered a job and you don't get a promotion, people quit all the time, even though they were offered this money to sign and then are unhappy with it because their work. So the fact that people have the audacity to try to clown him for this comment really upset me, because I guarantee you, Tony Khan, when he signed him to a huge paycheck, said, you're going to be making more money because we're going to sell arenas out. We're going to pay you and this and that. And they didn't. So I just think it's a hard no for people to try to dog him, or that he's dogging AEW, because he's not saying they're not a business. Are they a
You've been
business,
saying
Ryan?
that. No.
So once again, they're just having fun, and that's and which is fine if that's what you want to do. But for him wanting to make money and wanting to be in a business doesn't make him a bad person or greedy.
No,
we all want more money. The end. Get over it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And you know, I do wonder, and I don't. This probably wasn't the time or place to get into it during this interview, but I do wonder how much of it was because when CM Punk was recruited, Cody Rhodes was still in AEW. And I
Mhm.
wonder how much Cody Rhodes' influence had on CM Punk signing that contract in the first place, and saying like, hey, maybe it was Cody Rhodes that sold it to him, and then Tony Khan changed his vision to making it more New Japan Pro Wrestling-esque, and then that's when things started changing, and that led to Cody's ouster, and maybe that's when Punk started noticing some changes, because it was right around the time that Cody left that things started going south for Punk in AEW. So I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Not just for Punk. AEW has not been the same since Cody Rhodes left.
No, not at all.
And Cody Rhodes left because what did he say? We had different opinions on the future of where AEW was going to go with Tony Khan. That's when Tony Khan took full control after Cody left, and they have been a non-making money type of business since then. Have they not? This isn't saying things that aren't true. It's true statement. So maybe he wanted it to be a business as well. You think when he started it, Cody Rhodes with the Young Bucks, they were all just like, "Oh, we're just going to do this just for fun. We don't want to make any money."
No,
hell to the no.
not. Yeah.
He didn't hit the throne with a sledgehammer because he was hoping that they would do 700,000 viewers a week. I'm sorry.
No, they were
I'm
hoping
sorry.
for millions, and it worked for a
Yes.
little while there, and then it
until
somebody left and somebody else took over. So
exactly. All right, sorry.
It's all right. Let's get back to it.
I really need your help. And I was like, what? He's like, Jack is, cussing me out, and he's cussed out.
So he's talking about Tony Schiavone coming out.
Schiavone.
Daryl from production, and he's cussing out the doctor right now.
Because he was in charge of Collision.
Like,
yeah.
He states that.
Dude isn't supposed to be here. I was told people are getting separated, so there's not problems, and you don't want me involved in this because
we talked about that in our podcast when that was
just
going
like everything
on.
else I've explained before.
That
like,
nothing was separated.
Because if you don't, I'm going to handle it, and you're not going to like the way I handle it. Prophetic words. So he's begging me now. Please, he drags me out of catering. I go up. Hook.
So he is acting like a tough guy, but at the same time, I don't see anything wrong with that statement.
I don't know anything about Jack going on vacation.
If you don't solve it,
All
I will.
I know is there's a litany of people that don't want. They work 1 day a week and they don't want to. So they want to show up and wrestle and then film vignettes and then sit at home for 4 weeks. Great. Not my company. Do what you want.
We've always wondered why people disappear.
That was my attitude. So I said, Tony, you really want me doing this? Yeah. And I walked up to Jack, and he was sitting in a car. What he wanted to do, it was a rental car. What he wanted to do was smash the window of the rental car with a pipe. And I was just like, it's a rental car. And I very politely, because I like Jack, I was just like, Doc's told you no, Daryl's told you no, Mike's told you no, Schiavone's told you no, and now I have to tell you no. And apparently you've cussed them all out. So I'm telling you no. We don't do that here. If you want to do this, go to Wednesday and do it. Right? And he had no problem. He said, okay. He said, well, I just thought it was a really cool idea. And I said, it might be, but this is a rental car. Boys ruin it for the boys. You're going to smash the window of a rental car and you're going to return it with no fucking window. And now whatever national budget hurts, whatever is going to be like, don't rent cars to pro wrestlers anymore. This is a thing that's happened.
Right.
This is, so
nothing wrong with that.
I wasn't trying to throw my weight around. I wasn't like, this is my show and you gotta get out of here. I was just like, this is fucking dumb, man. And he wanted to do it so he didn't have to fly back to Canada. And I, sorry, man. We're privileged to be in this business. We're privileged to do this for a living. Like, I get it. I didn't want to go to Canada either. All the flights were delayed, canceled. Everybody's travel sucked. But to come to this new show when everyone's supposed to be separated to get rid of all the drama, and then, swearing at the doctor because the doctor's like, it's real glass. You're going to, like, shit's going to go in your eye. Like, and I get it. I used to be that kid that was like young and I want to do this, but there's a safe way to do it. And I politely explained that to him. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cuss at him. I was just like, I very much just said, we don't do that here. This is Saturday. It's a different show. If you want to do stuff like this, do it on Wednesday. That was it. I didn't think there was going to be a problem. He obviously took something very business-minded, very personally. And that's fine, because I've done that before too. But it's very much who he's friends with. And, shit never got squashed. Nobody's in charge. And it turned into what it turned into.
So he says that clearly a shot at you, as you said. Match is over. He goes to the back. What happens?
I went to Tony, and I was just like,
Which Tony, by the way?
Tony Khan.
Okay.
And I was like, please handle that. Like, please. And he was like, what do you want me to do? And I was like, I'm not telling you what to do. Just be the boss.
What do you
Please.
want me to do?
Like, I'm tired of this shit. You know, like I told you this was a mistake. And I told you separate shows wasn't going to work. And now we're all here. And, you know, like, please handle it. Because if you don't, you're not going to like the way I handle it.
Did he handle it?
No. No.
So you did?
Yes.
What happened?
Jack came back from his match. I was the next match. I'm sitting there. And I got people with me. I'm not going to say who they are, you know, because I got a lot of friends who work there, and I wish them all well, and I don't want
House
them
of Black,
to be punished.
Brody
because,
King,
Yep.
Danhausen. Yeah.
you know, and I walk up to him and I'm just like, Jack, why
He's
do
really
you
close with Danhausen.
insist on doing this dumb internet shit, like on
Dumb
TV,
internet shit.
you know? And he's just like, well, if you got a problem about it, do something about it. And I was just like, man, come on, man. You know, I would fucking kill you. Like, what are we doing? You know? And it just, you know, it's like Chael says, sometimes you just can't let you get close.
Yep.
You know, I thought I was doing a responsible thing. You know, I didn't punch anybody. I just choked somebody a little bit. Samoa Joe was there, told me to stop, and then I quit.
Samoa Joe
I
did
turned
say
to
that.
Tony, and I said, this place is a fucking joke, man. You're a clown. I quit.
Damn.
I went to my room, and then Joe and Jerry Lynn came and got me, and they're like, let's just go out there and kill it. And I was just too fired up, and I'm fired up now, and I'm probably going to regret, you know, talking about all this shit, but that's what happened.
Okay. So for those that don't know, you actually did go out and wrestle.
Yes.
Do you, like, is that all just a blur for you, that match? Do you even remember?
Oh,
'Cause
no, that match is I was just like, this is the last time I'm ever going to wrestle Samoa Joe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is my last match in this company.
You knew that.
Yeah, I quit. I said,
Right.
I fucking quit.
So why did you even go out?
For Joe,
Right.
for Paul Turner, the referee, for Jerry Lynn, the agent on the match, because I, you know, respect him, and I thought it was the professional thing to do. All the fans, you know, a lot of fans there.
Yeah.
You know, probably a lot of them to see me. You know, so just go out there and give them a show.
100,000 fans, right?
I don't know. You have to check the turnstile count.
Great line to end it.
Yeah.
So dive into that. Let's. What do you think? I mean,
Whew.
once again, this is his side. So is everything 100% true?
Yeah.
Just
Do I
taking
think
word for
he?
word, right?
Do I think he calmly walked over to Jack Perry? No, not at all. I think there was probably some hostility, and you know, there's some other clips that we probably won't get to today,
Mhm.
but he had asked Tony Khan several times to handle the Young Bucks and to
Mhm.
put a stop to them spreading bullshit lies about Colt
Mhm.
Cabana. He talks about Colt Cabana in here again. And just he talks about the Adam Page incident, which I really want to get into that. That was something
We should. Yeah.
yeah, because that was also interesting too. But you know, the thing that I really took away from it was I didn't think about anything that he was talking about. Like the rental car, the fact that they have to return the rental car with a broken window, and then that
Right.
you know that would be a mark on the wrestling business to where they could say, "Hey, don't rent cars to pro wrestlers anymore." That thought never once dawned on me that okay, like I guess I just always thought they bought those cars and just to
That's
destroy
and
them.
the ones they crack. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, the ones that they like crack and break backstage. I never knew that they like rented them. And I'm sure maybe they do buy the ones that they break, and but they wanted to break this one and this
Or
one was
fix
a rent.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or something. But yeah, but I never really thought about like the logistics behind it as to, you know, yes, the spot was dangerous and the glass could get in your eye, and the doc said no, it's not a safe thing to do. But at the same time, just the overall logistics of like, no, like you could, you know, we could lose our contract with budget or Hertz or whatever,
Mhm.
and then that could really cause problems down the road. Like that's to me, that's kind of the mindset that CM Punk has always had. He's always looking ahead and thinking of the bigger picture of things as opposed to thinking in the moment. So that was one of the big takeaways for me. And then the fact that he says he quit AEW, and then the next day, you know, after the All In incident, like Wednesday before All Out, which was in Chicago, he goes out and cuts a. Tony Khan says that he fired CM Punk and that he feared for his life. CM Punk later on says, and I don't have it here, but says that he never once made Tony Khan fear for his life. He doesn't know where that came from. But yeah, the fact that he said that he quit AEW and Tony Khan tried to make it so that he fired CM Punk with cause, something's not adding up there. And, I don't know. Like, do I believe CM Punk in this case? Yeah, I do, just because of the track record of Tony Khan. I don't think Tony Khan had the guts to fire CM Punk. I don't think Tony Khan, if he didn't have the guts to handle the Young Bucks and he didn't know what to do about Jack Perry and what to do about his locker room going out of control with certain things and spreading gossip and lies and bullshit, as Punk says, then do I think Tony Khan would finally grow a set and fire him? No, I don't. So I think Tony Khan duped us when he said that he fired CM Punk with cause. And then he made Bryan Danielson take the hit because Bryan Danielson was on the quote unquote committee, the termination committee or whatever they call it.
Yeah. And all of this kind of makes Bryan Danielson look a little too, because of, either way, there was rumors that he was running the show. He wanted to run the show the way he wanted to run. He asked Tony Khan to be a boss. I've worked in business and companies being a teacher and being in education where my bosses don't want to handle things with my assistants who I have issues with and I have to do it. This is a normal occurrence where bosses are afraid of confrontation. I don't see this being like a shock. I think that's who Tony Khan is. And I think now he's trying to be a little bit more manning up, but not really. He hired a new COO. He hired that girl to basically book his shows. I think he's starting to realize that he does need to make money. Like I said, I don't care how rich you are. You want to make profits when you do things in life. But I did like the Jack Perry thing. I like that he said it. I think this makes sense. Jack Perry being a young guy wanting to this and that, and seeing CM Punk as an old man who got his butt whipped in UFC, probably thought he could take him. I don't see any of that being so out of the blue. And Samoa Joe came out and said it was nothing, that he basically choked him, and that was like there was a choke and moved on. I mean, Joe said that, so that adds up. And him quitting, I do believe that. And I think Tony Khan, if we don't get into NDA stuff, wants to stay face. And I honestly don't blame Tony Khan for that. Why does he want things to be out in the public that can hurt his company? Because it is a business and you don't want to have a bad rap. So I don't see that being an issue at all. And we've talked about that numerous times about NDAs and how they're not all about assault and harassment and hiding things. Sometimes they're just about not wanting a story to get out, which you don't want a story to get out. I mean, it is what it is. And I do think he quit. And I think then after that, he was like, nah, we're going to go ahead and just fire you and pay you and move on. And I think that's why he probably had that clause wasn't in his contract to go because of everything that happened. They probably agreed upon that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I believe it all. Now, once again, I could also believe it all because we haven't heard a second story. Like you said, Tony Khan was on here and asked the questions and he didn't want to answer them. Why? So usually if you don't want to answer things, there's a reason.
Yeah. And Punk talks about that. He's like, we signed an NDA, but not because of anything I did.
Not because of me.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's like, I don't have anything to hide. So yeah, I thought this whole interview was very fascinating. And I thought, Ariel Helwani did a good job asking all the right questions.
Always.
And this was a really, really good interview. And I don't think it made AEW look bad. Punk said a lot of the same stuff that we've been saying, that it's not a real sustainable business, and that they're in there to have good matches. That's really what the company's all about. And is that sustainable? I don't know. It's not his company. So,
well, exactly. And the fact that there are people that are happy in AEW, whether they're fake about it or not, or maybe they're real, they're saying it. So I'm going to take their word for it and that they are happy. So just because one situation didn't work out because they saw different things, and hopefully you show the Hangman, because this is where it all started. We can end on the Hangman one. Is this it? So this is where basically it all began, was with Hangman Page, where he basically thought that the Elite and everybody was just kind of not wanting him there for whatever reason. He doesn't get into. Once again, he's trying to stay face. And he did say he will regret things that he has said here because he probably shouldn't be saying them, but it's an interview. Once again, this isn't, people have gone in. I'm a Shawn Michaels fan. You don't think Shawn Michaels ever went out there and went off script and did things? He was known for it. So I'm not dogging Hangman Page for this either, but I'm also not defending him.
I think this is the part where he talks about. So let's see.
For that particular
there's an NDA in place for that one. Yeah.
You did speak to Mark Ramundi when you came back, right? Of ESPN.
So that's he's talking about the NDA.
You kind of regretted the way that was all handled. Is that
sure? I mean, I think you can go back and be like, well, I wish I never did the scrum. Scrums are stupid anyway.
Would you prefer
They
if there
are.
just wasn't a scrum?
Yeah, those things are really cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cringe.
It's pro
He's
wrestling.
trying.
Maybe do one. Like I did one like the day I came back. I was like, well, this is a big deal. Like I get it, you know. But the problem you have with pro wrestling is just anybody with a Twitter calls themselves a reporter or a
Yeah.
journalist or whatever.
Yeah, interesting.
And I experienced it firsthand, you know, the amount of misinformation that came out based on that. And again, I will go back to, you want to believe all that shit? I'm Bruiser Brody and I'm running around, I'm running through the hallways and I'm just fucking sucker punching people and all that. Great, man. Awesome. Believe it. Believe it.
I agree.
Because I'm over here and I'm making money off it. And you ain't. Believe it. But it's just the amount of just lies and bullshit. It feels a little bit good to say that a lot of it is lies and bullshit, you know? But yeah, everyone's gonna, the people that don't like me based on that stuff, they don't like me anyway. They're not my audience anyway,
Yep.
you know? I don't know what else to say.
Can I ask about why is there an NDA? Like, so something happened,
This is a
things
good point.
happen.
Yeah, this is where he
People have
says,
talked about them. Worse things have happened in pro wrestling and in life. Why is there an NDA for this particular one?
You would have to ask the person that wanted me to sign an NDA.
Would that be Tony?
Yeah.
I did try to ask him about it one time in an interview.
I
Didn't
can't
go very well.
can't imagine he answered you.
No.
Yeah. And again, I am very uncomfortable right now, like talking about
Okay,
this
I don't want to
stuff.
make you uncomfortable.
No. Well, I mean, I figured it was inevitable when I walked in the door, you know, but I also didn't want to be the guy that was just like, I appreciate that question, Ariel, can't talk about it
Sure.
for 90 minutes or 60 minutes or whatever, you know, and I like, I'm a human being and this is real life shit that happened and I don't mind talking about it because again, I didn't want anybody to sign an NDA to hide some kind of bullshit that I did, you know?
In your mind, when that was done, did you think that perhaps you were done with the company?
Yeah.
You would have preferred that. And for the record, did you injure your tricep? Can you tell us that? If
This is a good
not,
one.
You know, I understand.
yeah,
In the incident, or was it in the match? Okay.
he doesn't know.
That means
Yeah.
it was in the incident.
Will
Yeah.
you ever be able to talk about this?
I don't know.
Is there
He was
a-
moving his arm a
I
lot
don't
in
know.
the
I don't
media
know
scrum.
why-
Like if you
why
tear your
does anybody
tricep,
want to talk about
Well,
it?
just for the record,
Yeah.
you know, just to know.
It's grown
he was, like,
into this
eating the
ridiculous-
muffins
this
and everything.
ridiculous thing.
Yeah, he
you know?
was.
Like, again, just go ahead and believe what you want.
So you go away, and it's kind of good timing because obviously you never want to get hurt, but we don't know if you're suspended, if you're hurt, if you're recovering from surgery, you just disappear. Did you ever get close to being let go at that point? You said at the beginning of all this, you said, please, you know, let's just do it here.
Well, nobody in the company spoke to me for, I don't know, six months.
How's that possible?
I don't know.
Not a soul.
Paid for my surgery, booked my surgery. You know, thankfully, Dr. Sampson, who I knew from WWE, I have a good rapport with, like he helped me with that. But like, I was on my own and all that stuff.
He did crap on WWE
And,
for
you know,
medical as
if
well.
you think I deserve to be
lawsuit,
fired
actually.
or treated like that, that's your opinion. It's none of my business what you think of me. But doing this one and the recovery for this one, based on how the recovery went for that one, I'm just like, man, it's night and day. And it's almost the comparison between, places where there's structure and there's protocols and there's professional people
Funny how
in charge of things. And I'm
He's
not
happy
happy
it
to
works.
research and
Yeah.
find a PT spot.
It's not what he was saying
I
10
had
years
no
ago.
help.
No, it
Like
wasn't.
nothing.
Weird, huh?
And that's insane to me. Is that how they treat the Jaguars players? I don't know. But I don't think anybody should be treated like that if you're a professional athlete. Like I had no help. Nobody would speak to me.
So ultimately, why did you come back?
I got a lot of friends there, and even though I thought the separate show and separating everybody without, getting everybody in a room and squashing
I agree with
it
that
was
too. Remember,
not
he had a
gonna
belt. Remember?
Yeah,
That
the
was
real
probably
world.
going to be defended on
Part of me
Collision.
was just
Yeah.
like, well,
hmm
he's not gonna let me go. Like I'm either gonna be sitting at home or I could try to do some good. And if I can get a crew of people on television and maybe do some fun shows. Like, that sounded fun to me. You know,
His
like,
collision
okay,
was better as well.
you know,
Just so
preferably, I would
Yeah.
like to be out of here, and then I think everybody's happy, because I don't do this because I need to. I do it because I want to, and it's supposed to be fun, especially at this level. You know.
And could I ask, how much time did you have left on your deal? Like, was it something that you could have maybe
I'm
dragged
gonna
your
skip
feet
to
and-
the.
Yeah, let's get to Hangman.
I want to get to this
Good
question
end on
first.
Hangman, right? Oh, you got
Yeah.
another one?
Do you think they'll be around? Like, given
This one.
the fact that you say like it's, will they be around in?
This is a loaded question. I think
No, it's 2, 3.
like the company
Yeah,
as a whole.
yeah.
I think it's always going to exist as long as Tony wants to put money into it.
Okay,
We've been saying that.
but can they be as successful? Like, do you feel like they're trending? Do you watch them even?
What's successful though? Like, what's the
Yeah, I
definition?
guess.
See, this is what I'm talking about, like levels. You know, because like I started on the indies, and to me, successful was I can eat tonight. I have gas money to get to wherever I was going, and man, I had a good match. You know, and then you get to television, and as somebody coming in who doesn't know jack shit about doing television, like I have to lean on people and ask questions and watch and learn and grow. And a lot of people, I think, are still just stuck in that indie mindset. And again, it's where I came from. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you're more happy with some goof saying
Here's the
that
line.
you had a 5-star match and the building's a quarter full, we're not in the same business.
Right.
I agree.
So speaking of that, when
Take
you
that,
came
Dave
back and
Meltzer.
obviously-
That's pretty much what he's talking about. So,
Uh-huh.
all right. I
Nobody
got
likes
the-
Dave Meltzer.
No.
Nobody.
Let me get the Hangman Adam Page stuff. So here we go. This is CM Punk's discussing Hangman Adam Page, and we'll probably end it here.
Yeah,
And
his
it
side of
seems
it.
like, correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong, when you debut in August of 2021, up until like the spring of 2022, it's pretty good times, right? You have that great,
I thought so, yeah.
but then when he says, I'm not here to just, fight you, I'm here to protect you or protect the locker room from you, right?
Yeah.
In so many words. And the story is that he, went off script, so to speak, and really pissed you off by saying that. Did you feel like that was the first time that your reputation, that your character was being slandered?
What he said didn't matter to me. But when you sit, peeling the curtain back, ladies and gentlemen, and again, if you want to believe all the bad things about me, please do. Just leave me alone. If I'm working with you, and we sit and we talk, and I think one of the biggest criticisms about WWE was it's overly scripted. There's writers.
We talked about this before, too.
Pro wrestlers don't
Yes.
need writers. Some people don't. Some people do. Some people prefer it. Right? It's but I sat down with him, and we hammered. I was very gracious. Hammered out this promo. Oh, if you say this, what if you say this? Okay, I'll say this. Oh, if you say that, I'll say this. Okay, great. Great, yeah, awesome, great. And then he proceeds to go on live TV and not say any of the shit that we talked about. I can't hear him because the crowd's so loud, and I'm looking at him, and I have to really pay attention to what he's saying because my
These are valid
responses
points.
matter. I can't just say what I had planned because it's not going to match what he's saying to me. And he's saying some shit, and I don't know what he's talking about. And I'm just like, man, why would you do this? Why would you ruin? TV is very expensive. Every minute of TV is hundreds of thousands of dollars between production and all that stuff. And you're just shitting on me and you're shitting on the business. Why would you do this? And I knew the promo ended with him punching me. And I had to fight just double leg him. Just double leg. Why is he doing this? I don't know
Imagine.
what's going on, but I was a professional. And afterwards, I spoke to him and I was like, why'd you do that? And, he thinks I got one of his friends who hasn't been fired. But I went to Tony and the lawyer and
True
I said,
statement.
you need to fix that. Because if I do, you're not going to like the way I fix it. And I thought I was being professional by not just murdering him on television. Sorry, I know some people are going to be upset about that. And some people are going to be like, oh, he's talking about this guy again. But with me, respect is the default. I respect everybody until you do something that makes me lose my respect for you. And I had never done anything to any of those guys. If they're basing how their attitude is towards me based on some bullshit their friend told them, well, I can't help you. But I got plenty of friends who don't like certain people, and I keep relationships business. Right? And yeah, that's everything went off the rails from there. It's a shame. It's a shame.
And
Really a shame.
And you guys have a match, I believe from what you have said, you were kind of thinking the whole time that it would go off the rails in the match, so you couldn't really like fully.
Well, how could I trust him?
Right, of course.
Yeah.
You injure your foot,
point
right?
again.
You break your foot.
The week after, yeah.
Take some time off, come back, and then it's the Moxley match.
Yep.
You win. When you are getting ready to go to that scrum, did you know that?
So yeah, they've already talked about the scrum, but oh man, there's a lot to unpack there with Adam Page. I mean, he brought up some good points. They brought up some valid points about, you know, they sat back in the back, and again, things that we didn't even think about as wrestling fans. We just think that, oh, Adam Page went off script and CM Punk got mad, but yet he's known for going off script and he's known for not being scripted. And so, but yet it's the fact that they sat back and they rehearsed this and they talked about it. You say this, I'll say this. You say this, I'll follow up with this. You come up with this and we'll do this. And everything was working. And then all of a sudden, Adam Page just threw that line in there on camera. And I always felt like Hangman Page never really got the brunt of any of this, but he's kind of the one that started all of this. And I feel like if he had never done that, CM Punk might still be in AEW. There might not be a media scrum or a brawl out. There's no NDAs. There's no drama. Maybe there's some backstage drama, but I just feel like Adam Page kind of started all this, and he, you know, it was the Bucks and Kenny Omega that got suspended. It was CM Punk that got suspended. They got stripped of their titles. You know, so. And I don't feel like Adam Page really ever got any punishment, and yet he was the catalyst behind a lot of this, all because he thought that CM Punk got Colt Cabana fired, who was not fired.
Yeah, and he was never fired, even at, like, it was never ever insane to me. But even so, then you take that up backstage. You don't, like CM Punk said, don't agree with me to something. And I never thought about it in that way, that like when you're going off, I can barely hear you. It's hard to react because I'm missing most of the stuff you're saying, but you're not saying what we planned. So what am I supposed to do? And I just loved all of that. And the fact that he said our match sucked because I couldn't trust him, because I don't know what he was going to do in the match. Is he going to do something different? Is he going to like, and you know, that's pretty bad when Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels would literally fight backstage, legitimately hated each other, but they knew, even though Bret now like has said, oh, I wasn't sure, they always had great matches because he knew that they were going to do what they said they were going to do, minus a Montreal Screwjob. But they were going to just follow through with it and have these good matches. They weren't worried about that. Professionalism goes a long way. You can hate somebody, not like somebody, but still be a professional. I don't like everybody I work with, but I'm not mean to them at work.
Right.
I don't show that. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to grow up. And so, once again, and that was pretty much confirmed as well. I mean, all that, it wasn't like anything was like missaid about that he did go off the cuff and do that. And that's on Hangman. And that's like, I don't know. How are you not fined for that? How did you not get in trouble for that? Because going off the cuff is usually like a one-liner, maybe like a, I don't know, whatever pissed off Edge that one time that somebody said something about him and he got all angry. I think it was Ricky Stark, and Edge was like, fumbling off.
He said something about The Rock. Yeah.
But when you're like doing
The Rock.
But when you're doing your whole promo and it's not even anything you were supposed to say, that says a lot. And you're just basically coming at this guy and attacking him for no reason. That's way different. Way different. You know what I mean? It gets you to that like Vince Russo, Hulk Hogan, Jeff Jarrett type situations where it's, you know, shit can go bad when you're not doing the things that you were supposed to do, because as human beings, we all react differently. So,
you know, and I mean, I hate that everything transpired the way that it did in AEW, but I just don't think it was ever a good fit for him.
Nope. And
maybe they were pushing him too soon. He does talk about his match with MJF. He said it's probably the best feud that the AEW's ever seen. But then he also kind of threw some shade at MJF and said that he leaned in too much onto the internet stuff as well, which I wish they would have elaborated a little bit more on that. But I'm sure that's because he wanted more money and was doing his walkout and all that. But you know, at the end of the day, I hope that I hope that Tony Khan watched that interview and he doesn't need to respond. Don't go on Twitter and do a Twitter tirade where you're going off on CM Punk and the truth will be revealed eventually, and you do an angle about it on don't do anything like that. Just take the high road, and not that there is any high road to take, but take the high road and use it as a wake up call to say, you know what, like I really did fumble this. I really did screw this up. Going forward, I'm going to be a boss, and we're not going to have drama in the locker room anymore. And maybe that's what he did, because AEW released 10 people from their roster last night due to budget cuts. And maybe maybe this was all coincidental. I don't know, but
probably,
but at the same time, maybe he did use it as a wake up call to say, you know what? All right, we're gonna trim some fat on the roster. We're gonna make AEW great again, so to speak. But but I mean, it's still an exciting time to be an AEW fan. You got Ospreay there, you got Swerve Strickland doing his thing, Samoa Joe's killing it. You just signed Mercedes Moné. Adam Copeland is the TNT champion. He just had a great match with Matt Cardona on Collision. So I mean, it's an exciting time. But so use this as a wake up call and really help make your company a business. Right now, it's just a company. Let's make it a business. Go off of what CM Punk was saying and let bygones be bygones. And everybody should just move on from here.
And honestly, stop basing it off the internet. I'm so tired of it. And that's obviously why Jack Perry went after Punk and said that stupid line, because everyone got wild up about it in the window thing. So he made the glass line. I mean, stay off the internet. The internet's evil. If you want to go on it and you can handle it and post your stuff, so be it. But everything else is just, And once again, we're taking this off of CM Punk's word. This is not us stating this as a fact and everything he said is 100% true. Just because things make sense and it sounds right. It could be true, it could not. But it's his take, and it's the only take I've really heard. I haven't heard anybody kind of else say their thing. So you can only take for what you know, right? So,
and one of the other takeaways that that's it's easy to forget after an interview like this. But one thing that Punk made clear, and we talked about this earlier, is he doesn't regret his time at all in AEW. He said it numerous times. I have the clip right here if we can play it. But he said that he got to see Sting. He got to do a match with Sting in the Greensboro Coliseum. He got to do all these cool things with MJF, and he's made so many friends there, long-lasting relationships. He doesn't regret his time there at all. And so, and he does sincerely. He did say if he saw Tony Khan in person, he would say, "Hi, Tony, how you doing?" Shake his hand, wish him well. So I don't think there's any animosity from CM Punk. I don't think we're going to get the CM Punk pipe bomb on Monday Night Raw, where I think this is it. And this was pretty tame in comparison. So
I agree. And that's why I don't agree with the WWE hardcore fans either, who are like, oh, he cooked them and he showed them. And I don't think this makes AEW look bad in any light. Not all bosses are confrontational. Not all people do this. It's true that he's not he only focuses on one thing, and that's all in to sell out. He doesn't really focus on anything else. I mean, it is what it is. It's not the same business, and he does care about matches, and that's all he wants. And that's okay. If that's what he wants to do, then let him do that. And we'll see how long it goes. But Punk had different things in mind. It is what it is.
And in non-AEW news, he did talk about The Rock being back for WrestleMania and how great that's been. He did talk about Cody Rhodes. And so he said, again, stuff that we have been saying for the last few weeks, that his promos are too repetitive. Like the finish the story thing is cool, but his promos are way too repetitive. He's not a fan of industry terms being thrown out in promos and
like heel and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it makes me wonder, because CM Punk said this, and then Dolph Ziggler was on Busted Open, and he was talking about how he kind of ripped into Cody. He was like, he's the only wrestler that has to finish the story. He's the only one that's ever been screwed over by Roman Reigns. He's the only one that, he wouldn't be here if it wasn't for his dad. Like, feels like there's some I don't want to say backstage drama, but maybe some animosity towards Cody Rhodes, and because he's getting pushed over certain guys. And I'm not saying that they're bitter or anything, but maybe that's how the collective feels backstage. And that's, maybe that's why Roman retains at WrestleMania, because of how other people feel. I don't know.
Hold it for the prediction show.
Yeah, I know.
Man.
I'm just saying. I'm just like, we're not the only ones that feel that way. We've been saying that his promos are too predictable, and CM Punk is saying it. Dolph Ziggler's saying it. So I
think finish the story is stupid. I get it that it's about his dad and all this, but it's not.
It's just a new chapter. Yeah.
I've always thought it was lame. I thought it was lame when we saw the shirts at Mania because that's when it was first brought up. When those shirts, and I was like, "Huh, what the heck's that finish?"
That's all they sold too.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, sir.
But this
All
interview,
right.
this was a good interview. Highly recommend everybody go watch it.
Yes.
The MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani. It's on YouTube, so go check it out. It's about, like I said, Rhea Ripley comes on afterwards, and she does a really good interview as well. Is interrupted by Becky Lynch, who calls in to Ariel Helwani and then shows up to the show to confront Rhea Ripley. So it's all fun stuff. But it was a very well done interview by Ariel, and kudos to Punk for airing this out.
Yep. And Helwani's so good. That's why Dana White got rid of him and he's not allowed to go to UFCs anymore because Dana White don't like the truth. He pretends he does. I love giving the truth, but then he can't handle the damn truth. So it is what it is. But Helwani's the best. And I like this interview, and good for CM Punk to say this because no matter what people want to believe, it was probably hard for him to talk about this shit.
And he even said, if you believe the bullshit, believe it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, believe what you want. Just leave me
alone.
So, yeah. But Tony Khan, if you're listening, and we all know you are, please do not respond to this. Don't make any sort of Twitter tirade about it or anything. Just stay quiet on this. And, eventually people aren't going to be talking about this come Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because they're going to be talking about WrestleMania and the Hall of Fame and Stand and Deliver. By next week, this is going to be a moot point. So just, don't even bring it up. Don't even bring it up.
I agree. All right, y'all. Special episode. We're going to be back Wednesday and Thursday. Our Thursday and Friday, we're going to be doing WWE and AEW reviews at the same time. NXT Stand and Deliver watch along, WrestleMania Night 1 watch along, WrestleMania 2 watch along, WrestleMania Night 2, watch along. We're going to be doing it all. I'm going to have them going shopping on Thursday, Friday to get all my Stone Cold brewskis.
Yes,
we're
sir.
Gonna have some Stone Colds. We're going to have
he did a video on his social medias where
someone knocked on his door
and left him a surprise, and it's a cooler of beer that he's gonna bring to WrestleMania, I guess. I don't know, but yeah,
I don't want I'm fine with Cena and Stone Cold being there. I don't want them. We don't need the Bloodline interfering, Seth interfering, Drew interfering, Stone Cold interfering, The Rock interfering, Cena interfering, Vince McMahon interfering. I don't need Shane McMahon blowing his quads again and interfering. I don't need Snoop Dogg punching Solo in the face. I'm just like, Bloodline's good enough.
Drew Barrymore is going to be there. She's probably going to interfere.
Well, supposedly Rocky's gonna be there, so you know what I like. We don't need you have 2 nights, spread the love. Maybe have them interfere in the tag team match. We don't if you want to do
I would like that'd be fine with me.
Fine, have them come out and interfere on night 1, but we don't need we don't need it. Imagine if Stone Cold interfered, The Rock gets pinned. There is no Bloodline rules. It's a one-on-one match. Imagine that. And imagine that's when it's Bloodline, whatever. It's supposed to be no Bloodline. And that's when Seth comes out and costs Cody the match. Yeah. Because Seth isn't the one who he's allowed. It's no Bloodline's allowed to be there. Clean match. What if Seth comes out and then that builds Stone Cold and The Rock? And maybe that's why Rock's not there night 2 because Stone Cold put in the work.
Yeah.
But I just made that up. I don't know if
Stone Cold's face was on the truck when The Rock was beating up Cody. And
gosh. But Triple H loves fucking with the internet because he loves messing with the internet. I'm telling you, he does it on purpose because he knows the internet.
It makes why would John Cena interfere when him the last time we saw him and The Rock, they're hugging it out backstage. They're because he was back there with Austin Theory, and there's just and then all of a sudden he's going to cost. No, it's not happening.
Yeah, I also like the fact that they had Drew and Paul in the background talking at that couple Raws to go to, and it's once again he's just messing with it. Anytime we've ever seen people back and behind, nothing's ever come of it. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me when something has come up with people talking in the back. Never. It just they had Judgment Day talking to somebody and nothing ever. It's all to get the internet because more of that click helps the WWE. That's why they have 1 million subscribers, 100 million subscribers, and it's all. People just are like, no, it has to be. I'm going to make a TikTok about it because I'm 100% true. This is what's going on. Let me hold my microphone. No, it's not. Get out of here with that. So anyway, that was a great thing. I'm glad we did a special episode. Keep following us. Keep subscribing as always. If you'd like to hear what I got to say and my awesome top fives, catch me at HBD Denton on all your social medias. And with me, as always, is the man with the plan, the brother who visited me a year ago and refuses to come see me now again.
We might be going to Vegas, man, for Double or
All
Nothing.
right,
So just throw that out
right.
there. But
All right.
but yeah, it's Ryan Enjoys Wrestling, back from vacation last week. But if you like this video and you want to see other videos like it, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and keep tuning in because we got a busy week ahead for WrestleMania, and we got a busy week next week as well. So it's an exciting time for the Two Dudes with Attitudes. And if you're listening to us on audio and Spotify, audio on Apple or Spotify, thank you for the support. We appreciate the love. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. And 2024, it's going to be our year, man. I told you we were going to get to 1,000 subscribers by Mania. We've done that. So now we're going to take over YouTube here. So
Let's go.
Everybody stay tuned.
Let's do it. Two Dudes with Attitudes. Wolfpack, we out.
Two dudes with attitudes, let's go. It's the two dudes and the attitudes, ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E, the two dudes with the attitudes will bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.